it's crazy. I mean, many people know of me as the Tiger Mom, but don't even know that in my real job, I'm a Yale law professor, and that my expertise is in foreign policy and ethnic conflict. At the beginning, I was a little bit upset about it. I kept wanting to say, wait, you are misunderstanding the book. I mean, the truth is that I think that many people talking about the book and what they think of it are actually people who never read the book. I feel that when it comes to raising children or educating children, the East and West have almost exactly opposite problems. In my view, kind of mainstream Western parenting sometimes is too permissive, too coddling. Sometimes you let kids give up too fast, and that is not necessarily a recipe for happiness. On the other hand, I think traditional Asian parenting, again, it's not everybody, but just sort of generally, is too strict and too stifling, too suffocating, and not very good at promoting creativity and leadership and fun-lovingness. So I knew that there are these small ethnic minorities, like ethnic Chinese, who are only about 3% of the population in Indonesia or in the Philippines. And in those countries, you see when you have democracy, it's actually not this wonderful fairy tale thing. Sometimes democracy can be very destabilizing, and it can turn into an engine for ethno-nationalism or confiscation. So my first book was basically saying, look, everybody, democracy is a great thing to aspire to, but it's not that easy just to implement overnight, especially in countries that are very, very different from the United States. When I wrote this book, Political Tribalism, it was a couple of years ago when things have only gotten more and more intense and actually worse. I do think that the reaction against China is an example of tribalism, but it's not the only example. I mean, what we're seeing in the United States is so many different forms of tribalism at so many different levels. You see the kind of coastal elites reacting against, less educated Trump supporters, and you see it's at all different levels. But yes, I think it's often driven by the same thing. That is, when people feel insecure or threatened, that's when they become more tribal. I agree with the people who say that it shouldn't have to be a zero-sum game. Of course there's going to be rivalry. Let's not be over-romantic. And, there is going to be some level of distrust. And, I'm a lawyer and I know about national security concerns, spying concerns. Nevertheless, I think it's clearly a win-win for both the people of China and people of the United States if we can have good exchanges. And what's interesting is I think that you're seeing a lot of that very positively at the smaller local levels. Like mayors of cities are really interested in that. A lot of the antagonism is coming where people are just posturing. They want to get on TV and have their people see them kind of pointing to an enemy, and that gets people mad and it gets them attention. So what I'm hoping is that the real forces, the people who are actually doing all the business, actually doing all the work, actually running the country at smaller levels, and the people who actually want the products for a cheaper price in both countries, I'm sort of hoping that will dominate, but it's definitely a tricky time.